Alright, in this video we're going to be talking about the volume and surface area of spheres. So, the volume of a sphere is 4 over 3 pi r cubed. The surface area of a sphere is 4 pi r squared. So first things first, I would write these both down in your notes, maybe on that cheat sheet where we have all the formulas, and then we'll move on to a couple practice problems, and that'll be it for this video. A sphere has a radius of 8 centimeters. Find its volume and surface area. All I got to do here, so the nice thing about the volume and surface area problems is that they really only ask you for the radius, so there's not really much to plug in. Volume is 4/3 pi r cubed. I just plug in 8 for my radius, and then I let my calculator do the work. When I plug this in, I get 2144.66. If I want to round to the nearest tenth, that's going to bump it up. My final answer would be 2,144.7 centimeters cubed. If I want to find the surface area, again, all I got to do is plug in my radius. So now I have 4 pi times 8 squared. Just an example to show you again of leaving in terms of pi. That's what this would look like. Again, all I did there was do 4 times 8 squared, and I left the pi alone. 256 pi, if I wanted to round, would be 804.2 centimeters squared. Let's look at another example. A sphere has a diameter of 20 millimeters. Find its volume and surface area. In this kind of problem, it's important to notice that here we're given the diameter. So for both volume and surface area, I need to plug in my radius. So all I got to do here is divide that number by 2. If my diameter is 20, that tells me my radius has got to be 10. Now I have my radius, I could plug in just like that last example problem. Volume is 4/3 times pi times 10 cubed. I get 4,188.8 millimeters cubed. For surface area, I would do 4 times pi times 10 squared. Again, if I want to leave this in terms of pi, this would be 400 pi. Rounded to the nearest tenth would be 1,256.6 millimeters squared. The last example that we're going to look at today is dealing with the hemisphere. So a hemisphere has a radius of 2 centimeters. I want to find its volume and surface area. So in that picture, I could see I have a whole sphere. A hemisphere is going to be half of that. So for volume, it's pretty straightforward. For volume, all I do is cut whatever answer I get by 2. That will give me half of the sphere's volume, aka the hemisphere volume. So I'm given the radius. I don't have to do really anything here. I do 4/3 pi times 2 cubed, and then I cut that number in half. When I do that, I get 16.8 centimeters cubed. Surface area is going to get a little bit weirder, so make sure you're paying attention to this. My initial surface area would be 4 pi r squared. Again, since I'm doing half of a sphere, I'm going to cut that in half, so now I'm dealing with 2 pi r squared. But remember, though, that surface area is dealing with, like, if I'm wrapping this shape in wrapping paper. So while that 2 pi r squared would deal with kind of that round surface on top, notice that when I cut that sphere in half, I have a new cross section that's a circle. That's a new surface that I have to account for. So my surface area for a hemisphere would be 2 pi r squared plus the area of one of those circles, which is pi r squared. Now, again, even though this formula looks a little bit weirder, all I have to do here is still plug stuff in. So I'm going to plug in my radius wherever I see an r. That would give me 8 pi plus 4 pi, or 12 pi. Again, that would be cool if I wanted to round, or if I wanted to leave in terms of pi. Rounded to the nearest tenth, that answer would be 37.7 centimeters squared.